Hello everyone, in this video, we will compare the most expensive AliExpress drone with the cheapest AliExpress drone. If you want to learn more about these products or purchase them, then especially for you, I left links to all products in the description under the video, as well as in the attached comments. Let us talk first about a drone that costs $4,600 Autel Evo Pro 2. Most consumer drones work with a smartphone app, so you need to connect your handset in order to see through the camera and snap photos. Autel Robotics goes a different direction with the Evo 2 Pro, putting a colored display into the controller itself, so you can fly, frame photos, and record video without an extra device. It is a strong performer all around, but you repaying more for the privilege of controlling the quadcopter without your phone, and you'll discover many camera features still require an app. High visibility. The Evo 2 Pro is a bit large for a small drone, coming in at 5x4, 3x9, 0 inches and a 2.6 pound takeoff weight. It is highly visible, too, with a bright orange finish. Autel has used the color scheme for as long as I can remember. The orange pops against blue skies and green fields, making it just a bit easier to spot than drones with duller finishes. The airframe puts obstacle sensors all around, and at standard speed they'll prevent the aircraft from crashing into something, leaving you room to concentrate on your camera work. The flight battery is pretty massive, too, and helps the Evo 2 net a best-in-class 40-minute flight rating. Real-world battery life varies, though. I netted closer to 32 minutes in testing. How you fly the Evo comes into play. Hovering in place takes more power than flying forward. The battery is rated for about 35 minutes of hover time. It also drains more quickly when you switch to the high-speed flight mode, ludicrous speed. We're not sure if that's a reference to Spaceballs or the Fast and Furious franchise, but it has an important feature to note. In its standard flight mode, the Evo 2 tops out at 22 miles per hour and offers all-around obstacle detection. It is very useful for working lower to the ground, where trees or other obstructions may be an issue. When you're flying higher, above the trees, switching to the ludicrous mode gives footage more sense of motion. Autel puts 8 GB of storage into the drone itself. There is a micro USB port to connect to a computer and offload files. It has not a lot of space for 6K footage, so a memory card is an almost necessary add-on. That is no big deal, as micro SD cards aren't at all expensive. The Evo uses GPS for stabilization. Between pinpoint satellite positioning and its numerous sensors, it hovers in place without any notable drift. If you were using the drone along with a phone app, you'll be able to see its position on a world map, but that is not something you get when using the included remote by itself. Automated return to home is still available, though. The Evo 2 remembers its takeoff point. The drone lets you set restrictions on how far away it can fly, but there is no enforced geofence around airports and other restricted flight zones. That puts the onus on you to know if you're allowed to take off from your current location. For pro pilots who know where they're allowed and not allowed to fly, there is some added appeal here. DJI drones enforce no-fly in restricted flight zones by default, requiring certified pilots to go through an unlocking process before takeoff. If you already have permission, there is no need to take that extra step with the Evo 2. Remote control. The Evo 2 ships with the same style of remote control as the first generation model. It sets itself apart from other brands by including a full color display, so you can see the view from the camera without having to plug in your smartphone. It has got all the expected drone controls. The left stick toggles altitude and yaw, and the right moves the drone right, left, forward, and back in space. If you haven't flown a drone before, it is not unlike playing a flight-based video game. Check out our beginner's guide for more info for new pilots. There are buttons on the front to take off and land, pause in the air, bring the drone back to its takeoff point, and power the remote on and off. Dual antennas are at the top, along with control wheels for camera, and buttons to snap photos and toggle video recording. A phone clip is included if you want to use your phone, but you can take it off with a flathead screwdriver if you don't plan on connecting to the smartphone app. App-free operation isn't without some limitations. The remote screen doesn't support touch control, for one, so you'll need to use a control dial and button combination to navigate through menus and adjust exposure settings. You can set video resolution and frame rate, but you can adjust profile settings or switch between standard and log recording via the remote itself. You'll also miss out on seeing where the drone is on a world map, and you won't have access to any of the automated flight modes you get with the Evo 2's phone app. It can perform orbits via the app, and also identify and track subjects with several different tracking paths. Even if you don't take advantage of these extra features, there's no arguing a phone's touch interface makes navigating through the app all the easier. You can just tap on camera settings to change them, and menus are touch-based as well. You also get access to all of the camera's features via the app, not just the basics. The Autel Explorer app is a free download for Android and iOS devices. The remote has a USB-A port to plug your phone in, and ships with cables for phones with micro USB and USB-C ports. It does include a lightning cable, though, so you'll need to bring your own if you're an iPhone owner. Also note the controller doesn't charge your phone. My iPhone 8 Plus dropped by 30% during a longer flight, but its battery isn't anywhere near what it used to be. The remote's battery is up for longer flights, but you'll want to make sure it is topped off before flights. It charges via a micro USB port on the bottom. We would prefer to see a more modern USB-C interface, but a charging cable is included if you don't have one. We'd also love for the remote to be a bit quieter. Its cooling fan is pretty loud. It does run all the time, though, but does kick in every time the remote is powered on. There are a few quirks in the interface. Switching between different resolutions tends to change the frame rate back to the default, so you'll always want to make sure you've got the right setting locked in for your video. I also ran into issues when trying to update the drone firmware via the remote and phone app. The process kept getting stuck at 99%. The firmware update went smoothly when I loaded the new version onto a micro SD card instead. 1-inch sensor camera. It is the camera that sets the Evo 2 Pro itself apart from the first-gen Evo and the standard Evo 2. Instead of a typical smartphone size sensor, the same as you get with most consumer drones, Autel uses a 1-inch class chip here, the same type Sony uses in its premium RX100 series. The sensor design is about 4 times the size, in terms of surface area, as typical drone cameras. It nets better detail, wider dynamic range, and improved image quality at higher ISOs. There may be fewer pixels than the 48MP and 8K camera included in the standard Evo 2. But the Evo 2 Pro's camera is the pro part. For photos, the 20MP output and f2.8 lens nets results with excellent detail. You can work in JPG mode, which removes a little bit of barrel distortion and chromatic aberration, but limits your ability to edit shots. Digital zoom is available for JPG capture too, but it's no different from cropping a photo later on. It's always better to get closer to a subject, if it's safe to do so. The variable aperture is useful for video, too. You'll want to set it a bit narrower to get the proper shutter speeds for 24 fps and 30 fps. Neutral density filters are still handy tools on bright days. As for resolution, the camera records at 6K at up to 30 fps, at 4K at up to 60 fps, and at 7K or 1080p at up to 120 fps. Cinematic 24 fps, PAL 25 fps, and NTSC 30 fps are included, as are off-speed options in the modes that support them. The 48 fps frame rate is an important one for cinematic productions that may want to use a half-speed slow-motion effect. Video profiles are customizable, which is a good thing. The standard video profile has an ugly, over-sharpened look. It is especially notable in areas with grass and trees, as the sharpening makes things look just plain noisy. Dialing in a -2 or -3 adjustment to the sharpening cleans things up. The default color profile is pleasing and ready to share. You can also swap to black and white or a filtered nostalgic look. More advanced users will reach for the log profile, a low contrast, flat look that is suitable for color grading. You'll get 8-bit quality log at the full 6K resolution, but the camera does net more malleable 10-bit files at 4K 30 and below. The log footage is very low contrast by design. Autel provides an official LUT for editing. There is no way to monitor with a LUT applied in the app, a feature you get in some pro video cameras. We're not shocked to see the feature omitted, but it is a shame as the low contrast video can be a bit difficult to monitor on bright days. At any slow motion frame rate you'll have to deal with 8-bit video, as well as a cropped angle of view. That is often a benefit for a drone camera, though, as it puts a bit more distance between the quadcopter and subject. In-camera HDR is also available at 4K 30 and below. It is a useful tool if you're reworking in scenes with dramatic lighting, think sunsets and sunrises. The HDR look opens up shadow detail and is ready to share without color correction. The footage is saved in the standard color space, so it's not as tricky to edit as the admittedly higher quality HDR HLG that DJI puts in the Air 2S. The promise of phone-free flight may appeal to some, but you don't get access to every camera feature without the Explorer app, and automated flight is out of the question. We do wish the app was a bit more polished, however. Now consider a $55 drone LF606. About this mini drone. Functions: one-click rollover, 360-degree rollover, Wi-Fi connection, speed switching, HD 4K camera. The high-resolution 4K camera with Wi-Fi image transmission captures the most beautiful scenery and offers super sharp image, giving you an extraordinary journeys. Self-timer function, innovative aerial photography, new mode. Air pressure altitude holding system. The air pressure altitude holding system is set to achieve stable flying and hovering, making the picture clearer. Compass headless mode, easy recall with one-click return. Trajectory flying mode, it allows you to draw your trajectory route on the app control interface, and the aircraft will automatically fly along the drawn trajectory with the current position. Just choose the master mode and face the aircraft lens. MV Edition, gesture video and photo. When facing the front lens of the camera, specified gestures can be recognized and connect to the camera function of the aircraft. There exists multiple filter effects on the app interface for your choice. It has allowed you to add popular background musics and create a wonderful music video. I remind you that links to all products in this video are in the description under the video and in the attached comments. If you liked this video, then like and subscribe to the channel, and also watch my other videos. Also write in the comments what you think about this top. It will be very interesting for me to read your opinion. Thanks for watching.